Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's we're going to be comparing the Ram Limited to the Tundra Platinum. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy for giving me some time with the Ram Limited, and then to the Carl Malone Toyota in Draper for giving me some time with the Tundra. Link to both the websites in the description down below. Link to my car buying guide as well. Let's get into it. Powering this is a 3.4 liter twin turbo V6. It goes through a 10-speed. Fuel economy is 17 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 389 horsepower and then 479 pound-feet of torque. And then powering the Ram is a twin turbo 3 liter inline 6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 15 around town and then 21 on the highway, with power outputs being 540 horsepower and then 521 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this comparison, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So both of these trucks have quite a few elements on them that make them look a little bit fancier. So with the Tundra, you can see the coloration and the trim on the grille kind of upgrades things a little bit. You got fog lights there at the bottom as well. With the Ram, tons of chrome trim there on the front. And notice the Ram actually has tow hooks, unlike the Tundra. What the heck, Toyota? Anyways, 20-inch wheels on both of them. So they got kind of fancier wheels. Notice they both have nice painted fender flares. You can see the painted mirror cap on the Tundra, whereas the Ram is chrome. And then you can see both of them have kind of like identical trim pieces there on the side. The trucks are very similar. The Ram has the Ram box cargo storage, which is pretty cool. The Tundra does not, but does have bedliner from the factory. Now both of them actually have coil suspension, so that's a similarity between them. So because we're kind of cramped in here, I can't really give you guys a good side profile of the trucks, but there's kind of like the 3/4 of the Tundra, and it has this cool automatic tailgate, so that'll pop down. And then the Ram, same thing, cool automatic tailgate. Now this is a little bit less bed storage with those Ram boxes. You can get a traditional bed in the Ram too if you want. LED bed lights as well. And then I believe the Ram finally upgraded. Let me do that better. So automatically raises up now, which is cool. Got dual outlet exhaust tips. And then the Tundra, you can see similar with the bed effects. Got an outlet in the bed of the Tundra as well. And then same thing, you just kind of put your knee on that, and then it has a kick step that automatically comes out. So feature-wise, these trucks are shockingly similar so far. And now this leads us into the back of the Ram. Really nice trim all throughout. Look at the design on the door panel too. It's very pretty looking, and the same thing with the seats. Really nice trim. Power side steps with the Ram, so you can see that right there. You also have ice buckets here at the Ram too. And then notice we've got heated and cooled seats in the back. Got your vents and everything. Tons of legroom back here. Tons of headroom up top as well. And the Tundra is nice. It's not quite as fancy as the Ram with the trim, but it does have sunshade. Power side steps just like the Ram. And you can see the seats. Again, not as fancy looking, but it's still really nice. No ice buckets though, and there is less room. It's a little bit more cramped, but it does have heated and cooled seats back here, so very similar feature-wise. And then there's less headroom as well. And we'll start up the Ram here. Pretty cool with the full digital gauge cluster. But yeah, again, you'll notice really nice trim here on the door panel with the Ram memory seat function and all of that, and we'll close it. Solid sound. And taking a look at the seats in the front of the Ram, look at that fancy trim. And speaking of fancy, look at the center console too. So you notice the Ram has a lot of nice finishes throughout. Interestingly enough though, no 360, just a backup camera. It does have dual zone climate, heated and ventilated seats, so it's got all that, this big infotainment system in general, and then it also has a passenger screen. So it's funny, no 360, but you got a passenger screen. Kind of dorky. Nice trim all across the dash here. And then you guys saw the digital gauge cluster earlier, but it's a nice feature. And a bunch of practical controls here on the steering wheel. I just kind of noticed the finish here. It's pretty luxe. And then we do have a power side rear window. No sunroof though, surprisingly. Now the Ram stickers for just under $80,000, $79,385. And then with the Tundra, again, it's got nice materials. It's just not quite as fancy as the Ram. Got all of your window controls, mirrors, power fold in, you got your memory seats, all of that. And then the front seats, Again, just not stylized as much, but it's still nice materials. Getting in's easy. And then just like the Ram, we got a full digital gauge cluster. It's pretty cool. Look at that. It's fun. And then a bunch of practical controls here on the steering wheel itself. And let's listen to the door. Not quite as solid as the Ram in terms of the closing sound. 360 camera system, so it's got that above. It does heated and ventilated seats, all of that up front. And then the Ram had four-wheel drive auto. This just has four-wheel drive high. So this doesn't have like an all-wheel drive mode is a good way to put it. And then yeah, you can just see the trim pieces, just not quite as luxe looking as the Ram. But it does have a camera rear view mirror. And it's got a big panoramic sunroof, and the whole window goes down the Tundra. So it looks like the money's kind of put in different places a little bit. Now this Tundra has equipped stickers for $72,477, so quite a bit less. So let's take them out and see which one drives the best. Well, Tundra Platinum 360 camera system. Cool truck. And really this is kind of the top of the line for Toyota. I know that there's the Capstone. The Capstone's basically a Platinum with a slightly different interior. Same thing with the 1794 edition, right? It's like same truck, but just Western themed. And so really once you go, you know, Platinum, 1794, or Capstone, you're all pretty much the same truck. Capstone, I guess, has the hybrid, so, but you can get the hybrid in this and a 1794. So again, it's just basically a different name. A different name on the same thing. I will say the Tundra seats are pretty darn comfortable. And yeah, every single time I drive one of these new Tundras, I'm reminded how cool Toyota's twin turbo V6 is when it's working. Ah! I had to put it out there. I had to troll. It's part of who I am. But yeah, it's such a torquey engine. Again, even without the hybrid adds even more torque, but even without the hybrid, this just is a low-end torque monstrosity. It's really impressive, and especially when you compare it to the old 5.7. Again, my wife and I own a 200 series Land Cruiser with the 5.7, and I love that engine. I also love this engine though. So in terms of how it performs, when it performs, yeah, the interior is nice. I mean, these trim pieces are definitely softer feeling than what you get with the Limited, for example, and that's kind of a way to look at a Platinum. It's like a Limited Plus in terms of, you know, it's got more standard equipment and everything, but feature-wise, it's very similar to a loaded up Limited. That's just kind of how Toyota rolls. You just look at that, so much torque. It's like unlimited. I really hope that Toyota, and I know they will, figures everything out with this powertrain, because if they do, this is just one of the best driving twin turbo V6s on the market. A lot of the other twin turbo V6s, they've got good power, they just don't have the grunt that this has in the low end. And that's one of the big differentiating factors with this for turbo powertrain. And you know what I'd say is a turbo V6 is not quite as smooth as a NA V8, but it does pretty well for itself. It's got a little bit of abrasiveness on the low end. That's why I wouldn't say it's as smooth as a V8. Again, the V8 in our Land Cruiser is just butter, especially with the 8-speed. So yeah, with that being said, I mean, the Tundra Platinum, I realize I'm gonna be stuck here in traffic, so I won't be able to get you guys a good acceleration. But the Tundra Platinum is a solid offering. It's got great power. It looks good. I mean, look at this again. It's got nice features, and so yeah, I personally wouldn't get a Capstone. If I'm gonna get a loaded up Tundra, it's gonna be a Platinum. But let me know what your thoughts are on the Tundra Platinum. Well, Ram Limited, let us experience the luxury of Ram. Tight fit here, tight fit. Maybe I should do the comparison somewhere else in the lot. I figured that would be sufficient. So, I like the seats. Seats are more comfortable in the Ram, kind of kind of. I just like, ooh. Are they just gonna sit there? Well, I can't. Okay. Yeah, I just like the feel of them. I feel like they're a little bit friendlier, but Tundra seats are still really comfortable. Now, something to note: this inline 6 is very high strung. It's kind of awkward at low RPMs. It almost seems like this engine would benefit really well from a hybrid system to just fill in that initial gap. Because yeah, it kind of like nothing, and then it just jumps a little bit. Tundra's a lot smoother on the low end. But then this is where things get interesting, because once you're up and moving, the Ram is smoother with the powertrain because it's an inline 6, and it's just right. It's just that initial that's kind of abrasive, but then once you're up and moving, it's very smooth. It's like a V8 in terms of how smooth this is with power delivery. And I do think this interior just in general is nicer. Just nicer touch points. It's a lot more money. So you'd hope so, right? And the overall handling characteristics, this has air suspension. The Tundra does not. They're good. I just realized during the walk around I said that this had coil suspension, and it has air suspension. Sometimes I'll blame it on being tired today. Anyways, Ram. Yeah, this new powertrain's kind of crazy. It just has so much torque. It's really impressive. So the Ram's a better luxury truck. It rides better. The powertrain, although a little bit awkward at low speeds, once you're up and moving, is much better. But the Tundra's got way more features for less money. And that's the big benefit with the Tundra, is the value of the features. And I think this is something where Ram needs to step up. Like, they're asking too much money, in my opinion, for too few features. So just kind of my take on that. Because if you wanted to get, like, you're over 80 grand if you want to get all the features the Tundra has in a limited Ram. So, and like I said, it is a nicer interior. It is like nicer touch points. It feels like a more premium product. Drives better. It's a lot more money. So let me know which one you'd go. Let me know if you'd go Tundra or if you would go Ram Limited.